We are back, and we are about to discuss the big, beautiful bill. Not really. We're actually about to discuss the rookie class of 2025 and our expectations for them. Good evening. Welcome back to another Titan Bros episode. I am your host, Gabriel Pilcher, per usual, streaming to you here on the old UBTubi. Joined as always by me brother, Josiah.
Howdy, so how's it going?
It's a going. We're ready for another fantastic episode, and we like to try to get the laundry done before we jump into the main topic. Josiah is on dad duty. The kids are supposed to be asleep, and they're young kids, so if he hears them get up, he's going to have to go tend to them, and then I'm just going to filibuster until he comes back.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, last I checked, they both look like they was asleep, but my son's been good at fooling me sometimes, so hopefully I'm good, but if I get up, I'm going.
Yeah, it'd be like
go
that
tell the
sometimes.
kid.
So if we're just talking and all of a sudden it looks like this right here, he's probably putting the kid back to bed. Okay. So now that we got all the business taken care of, that is what we're going to do. We're going to go through each rookie and give like what we would consider to be a good rookie season, a bad rookie season, and needless to say, our predictions probably, split in the upright somewhere. But we're going to start from the 6th round because we didn't have any 7th round picks. So we're starting at the 6th, and we're going to work our way back up because you know how we are. If we started with Cam Ward, we might babble on about Cam Ward for 25 minutes and then be like, well, we still have all the other draft picks to get to.
Exactly.
So if you have anything else to say it now. I'm sorry for keeping you up late. I feel like this is every episode thing where you're yawning.
You just bore me, buddy.
Then go on another show. I'll just go solo around this joint, brother. Anyways, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and hop right on in. So the first one is Kalel Mullings. And I just looked him up. I've been saying Mullins this whole time. Apparently there's a G in there. It's Kalel Mullings. The 6th round running back. I'll go ahead and start. To me, I consider it
from Michigan.
Michigan, yeah, because I think there's a lot of Hassan Haskin comparisons. For me, this is pretty simple. I think a good season for him is if he makes the roster and actually makes some special team plays for us. And he used to be a linebacker before converting to running back, so
you don't think he's going to actually be the power back kind of guy, or you just don't think we're going to use one?
I just don't think we ever used one. It was like last year, Julius Chestnut was our power back, and he got what? Not many. Actually, I'm going to look how many carries he actually had, but I don't think it was very many. I feel like all we wanted to do, even when Spears was healthy, all we wanted to do was run Tony Pollard. I think that was bad coaching by Callahan there, but all we wanted to do is give Tony Pollard the rock.
I mean, I hear you, but I think from what I heard that we want to use more of a power back in power back situations. But we'll see. But I would say throughout the year, Callahan talked about he wanted to use all the running backs more, and he just used Pollard every week.
They didn't say how many carries. I just looked him up on Wikipedia. They didn't say how many carries he had, but he only had 100 yards in 17 games. So, I don't know. But anyways, so I don't see him being used very much. But what was you saying? Because I actually didn't listen to anything you said when I was looking that up.
I was just saying that I heard from somewhere that the Titans are wanting to use a power back in power back situations. But then I also said, though, Callahan did all through last year was talking about how he wanted to use the backs more, and then every week he would just use Pollard over and over. So he would say it and then not do it.
I agree, because that was something I pointed out because I remember what I was watching, and they were saying about the fact that, he's saying he wants to do a more even split between the two of them. I'm like, didn't he say that all year last year with Pollard and Spears? But yeah, so
I think he has to, though, Tony Pollard has proven, and he's good, but he wears down as the year goes on. He wears down because he's not a big guy. He's not meant to be, that many carries. So I think it's best for him if we split it a little bit better.
Even
But
if you don't
anyway,
want to do like a 60-40, at least do like a 65-35. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I agree.
Now, of course, Spears not being healthy, sadly, per usual, is kind of a problem. Of course, I say that he
Yes.
wasn't injured in his rookie year, was he?
No, not really.
Yeah, it was just a second year, but that's all his second year was just an injury riddled season.
And
But
then
anyway,
college, so that doesn't help.
right, with the non-existent ACLs. So yeah, that's the best case, or not the best case, but that's like to me would be considered a success. I highly doubt he gets cut. He has to be just awful, disgusting to be cut. So to me, an unsuccessful season would be like he makes the 53 and he's basically rarely, if ever, active.
Yeah, I would go with you with that, with the worst case scenario. I don't see him getting cut as well. But you said if it's just week after week, he's not playing, he's not active. That's definitely the worst case scenario. Best case scenario is that he actually gets, I'm gonna say, some touchdowns, like a decent bit, fourth and goal in the goal line situations and stuff, and he gets himself, I don't want to go crazy, but 200 yards or something like that. Get some touchdowns in tight situations. I could see us wanting to use him like that, and it is up to him if he does it well. Like if we try to use him like that and he doesn't pan out, then I think Callahan would be quick to go back to Pollard. But if he at least gives it a try and Collins does it well, then maybe that he can actually be that back which we need. I think.
Right. The idea of TNT, as they called it, Tony and Tajay, sounded like a good thing. Where it's like they're so interchangeable that it won't tip your hand one way or another who's in. Like the idea of it was really nice, but then when we had just no power,
Yeah,
that kind of hurt us a little bit.
I agree.
But the way I see it, I don't think either of these boys, Tony or Tajay, are going to be on our team that much longer. Like I think Tony's Pollard was a 3-year deal, but technically it was more of a 2-year deal that we can just be done with after the season if we want to be. And then Spears, this is his third season already. This will be his third, so his next season will be the last one on his contract. So it's not like either of these two guys are going to be around that much longer. And honestly, that's just kind of the history of running backs in today's NFL. All right, you ready to move to our 5th round pick?
Yep.
Our sole 5th round pick. Mr. Jackson Slater, the interior O lineman. Do you want to take this one away?
Yeah. Worst case scenario for him, which also could be best case scenario for the Titans, oddly enough. But worst case scenario is no one gets hurt and he kind of sits on the bench for the whole year, which that's not a bad thing really for the Titans. But for him, he just sits there, you can almost forget about him. But basically,
you could almost switch that. You could almost switch that. Say best case scenario is he sits on the bench because he doesn't have to play.
That's true too. The best case scenario, I just say that the someone goes down, either Zeitler, is that his name? Or Peter Skronsky goes down and he has to replace them, and he plays well. Which I always pump up late round picks more than you should. But I like what I've heard about him. So, I think maybe he could play well, but he is a rookie. He is a late round pick. So maybe expect him to jump in there and play well. It's a little too much to ask for, but.
Yeah, but I trust a 5th round guard to turn out to be something way more than a 5th round tackle.
Yes. I agree.
I'm kind of there with you. I don't really know what to say with best case, worst case scenario, because I think is what the Titans need. And I don't remember who it was I heard saying on a video. I think it was somebody on A to Z Sports saying, you want Jackson Slater to not have to play.
Yeah.
Because if he has to play, that means either they try him at center and Cushenberry's either hurt or struggling, or Kevin Zeitler, Father Time finally caught up with him at 36. I should say 63. At 36. Or he gets hurt, or Peter Skronsky starts struggling like he did at the beginning of last season, or gets hurt. All those are bad. So really, a successful season for Spencer would be just to learn from a veteran who's been around for a long time, like Kevin Zeitler, and just
Yeah,
learn.
exactly. I agree with you. That's not really a bad thing for him, to be
No.
honest.
I think a bad season would be is if one of those people does get hurt and he has to go out there and he just struggles.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, because nobody wants to have to start a rookie 5th-round offensive lineman.
By golly, you convinced me.
Okay, well, see, I don't really even know what I'm trying to say here because I feel like the best and the worst case scenario are both the same thing. So yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and move on because we have 3 4th-round picks to get to. We'll start with the first one, a fan favorite, Alec Manor. Did you learn how to pronounce his name yet?
Man, yeah.
Yep. This guy, I'm trying not to get too excited because it's some reason it's easy to get excited about wide receivers, but like,
and most of the time they don't perform like you want them to.
No. But I have high hopes for him, and there's 2 players we have that I know sounds dumb, but this more than likely being a throwaway season for the Tennessee Titans. I almost wish we didn't have Tyler Lockett and Van Jefferson.
Well, I definitely don't want Van
Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson.
Yeah, Van Jefferson. I agree. Because I think it would be kind of fun if you got Ridley as your Z, if you've got Alec Manor as your X, and you had Chim DK as your big slot, because apparently they like him in the slot. But if that was our 3 receivers, I'd be excited to see how the season would go with those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just feel like when you're a head coach and you're trying to win some games here, that's not very appealing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know that that's not what they're doing because in our minds, and if you're real, being real with yourself as a fan, it probably is a throwaway season. You're just seeing what you have in the young folk. But Brian Callahan knows that Amy Adams Strunk is a little trigger happy these days.
Yeah, she is.
So if he only wins 5 games or so, he's out. He's done. So he wants to win some football games. And obviously he's going to trust a Tyler Lockett more than he's going to trust a Alec Manor. But back to the conversation at hand here. Alec Manor, I think a really good season if he can get over 500 yards. I think he could take over as starter by the end of the season, but sadly with that initial depth chart and not wanting to overwhelm him too soon, it probably really will be Calvin Ridley, Van Jefferson on the outsides, and then Lockett in the slot. That's probably going to be your starting 3. So Alec Manor and Chim DK, for that matter, are both going to be backups to start the season for sure. But if we can get 500 yards out of him as a rookie, where he kind of just slowly but surely becomes more of a starter as the season goes on, I would consider that to be a success.
Yeah, I think you and I kind of on the same page with that one. Because 500 yards is what I was thinking. If he can end the season as a 4th-round receiver, he's not, a 1st or 2nd round. As a 4th-round receiver, you end the season with 520 yards and a couple of touchdowns. I think that's a pretty good season. I'd be okay with that. So that's what, that would be good. The worst case scenario is he just kind of stays in the back. He doesn't play much. Tyler Lockett and Van Jefferson does just good enough to stay out there. Callahan feels comfortable with the veterans, and he just kind of keeps them out there, Yeah,
and he gets like 190 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe a lone touchdown on like a reverse or something where it's not even a receiving touchdown. I do, like, if we were making a, which rookie do you think is going to be the biggest surprise? Which rookie intrigues you the most? If we did a video like that, the answer to the intrigued you most question would be Alec Manor. Because I really do feel like this guy could be somebody who's given us 800 yards a season, but then he's also a compensatory 4th-round pick. So he's just short of a 5th-round pick wide receiver. But at the same time, Tajay Sharp gave us 500 yards as a rookie, and he was a 5th-round rookie. But yeah, I can't wait to see him. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him in less than a month in preseason.
Yeah.
Honestly, the next 2 guys as well. Go ahead.
Well, I was supposed to say DK, Iomano, and Xavier Restrepo. Those 3. That's who I'm watching the most in preseason games.
Hopefully, Brandon Allen give him some good balls. Actually, that's almost the only reason why I would want Will Levis to not be traded by then. Is Will Levis good? No, but I trust Will Levis to actually put some balls in the air.
Yeah.
As opposed, like, if you really think about it, like Tim Boyle and Brandon Allen, they shouldn't
They're
really.
garbage. Absolutely.
They're
garbage.
basically coaches, and that's what the people like about them. Is they're basically coaches. They're good at
Mhm.
game planning, good at telling the young quarterbacks where they're being, how they should play.
Yeah.
But as far as actually going out there and doing it, I think you and I could do just as good as them.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So let's go to the next one. Gunnar Helm, also a very intriguing player, because especially the A to Z sporters are very high on Gunnar Helm. They even go as far, at least Easton Freeze, I don't remember about Austin, goes as far to say they think Gunnar Helm will actually replace Chig by the end of the season.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that.
I'm not sure I'm going to go that far, because I think Chig is basically what Chig is, a 400 to 600 yard tight end,
which is not terrible.
Which isn't terrible. His problem is that every single year he starts off where 5-6 weeks into the season he's barely broke 100 yards, and then the last 5 games of the season, that's when he gets like 400 of those yards. He's done it all 3 seasons for some reason. So I don't know if that I see him actually replacing Chig as tight end 1, but I do think this guy's going to get on the field a lot.
I agree with that, but 2, I would say for Chig though, now that he has someone that might be good enough to replace him, he better hope he can start off fast though.
Yeah, I agree, because
if it's week 5 and Chig has 150 yards, it'd be much more tempting to put Gunnar Helm in.
Yeah, I agree. Now I will say they do slightly play the tight end position differently.
Yeah.
So it is possible that there's some looks where they're both out there at the same time. Of course, then that being said, I don't feel like we ran that many two tight end formations.
We did not, no.
No. Because Josh Wiley barely played. Who was our blocking tight end last year? It was Thomas Odukoye, right? Because it was Thomas Odukoye, DMR, because we kept 5 for some reason. And then we had the Wiley, we had the Chig. Wait, there's still one more missing.
Yeah, I don't remember who that
We had a blocking tight end. I can see it. Nick Vanette. There it was, Nick Vanette.
Yeah.
So anyways, he was just your classic Jeff Swaim type dude. But anyways, who cares about that? Gunnar Helm, I think a successful season, because for some reason the tight end is the hardest position to go from college to NFL. I don't know why it is, but it is. If we can get over 400 yards from him, like if we could get 1,000 yards between him and Chig, I think that would be nice.
Yeah.
So like if Chig gives us our regular 600 yards like he normally does, if we get the extra 400 from Gunnar, I'd say that's a great start. And then Chig probably walks after the season, and then Gunnar Helm is our new guy, tight end 1 going into next season. I would like that. As far as what I would consider a very much unsuccessful season is if he just basically is a non-factor, where we're just doing 1 tight end formations and it's most of the time Chig, and he just gets like 115 yards and just rarely ever sees the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say worst case scenario is that he doesn't play much. Maybe even Josh Wiley is above him on the depth chart if he stays, because I know there's talk about trading him. Don't know if that's going to happen or not. But that worst case scenario is he just doesn't see the field much, and he kind of, like you said, tight ends have a way of, everyone talks good about them when they get drafted, and they just never really do anything. That happens a lot. But anyway, so maybe that might happen to him. But best case scenario is he ends the season as number 1 tight end, and he's the Titans' number 1 tight end. I don't know if I see that, but a lot of people that knows Titans talk about it, so it's a possibility. So that would definitely be for him, who's a 4th round pick. 4th round. Yes, that would be a huge successful season for him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you agreeing with me. All right, so let's do our last 4th round pick, which was the very first pick of the 4th round. Chimere, or a lot of people just call him Chim. To me, that's a lot easier to say. So Chimere or Chimere or Shmur, or however you want to try to say it. It's just Chim. Chim DK. He's interesting. He's an interesting idea, because I'm sure you've heard all the coverage of him. Everybody basically says all they made him do basically was crossers.
Yeah.
So he just ran crossing routes all day. So he's kind of raw in that respect, but he's tall, he's fast. We needed some speed too. So I am intrigued by him also. I'm honestly just intrigued with our entire fourth round. So I am very much intrigued with Chim DK. And even though I like Alec Iomanner more than I like DK, I think DK has a better chance of being a starter. Like if Lockett struggles or if Lockett gets hurt, I think Chim just immediately slides in as slot 1. Plus he could have some kickoff and or punt return duties as well. So I think he's going to have a decently productive season. Now, if we have that disgusting veteran situation I talked about earlier with Van Jefferson and Ridley on the outside and Lockett as the slot, I would be happy if Chim could break 350, get over 350 yards and some return yards as well. But I would really like to see him get over the 400-yard mark and a couple TDs.
Yeah. Best case scenario is that he would be a good slot receiver for us. He'll be able to take some of the roof off of the defense for us. He'll get some touchdowns. Like you said, if he gets 400 yards, I would be happy with that. Worst case scenario is that he's kind of a one-trick pony who kind of does easy to guard. He doesn't really do much for us. Because one question I have for him is, can he do a full route tree? In Florida, he did basically one or two routes, but I think it was Easton Freeze said, was that his fault or was that just bad coaching's fault? Or maybe not even bad coaching because they did it well. They didn't develop his route tree running. So maybe he might be just a John Ross one route kind of guy. And if it is in the NFL, you usually get shut down if that's the case. But maybe he's good at running up the routes. He just didn't do it. And if that's the case, then I think he's actually going to be, pretty decent slot receiver for us. I started there, but I hope you know what I'm trying to say.
I was battling yawns, just barely keeping them inside. So I don't even know what you said. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I agree with you. Him not running a lot of routes is not his fault. That was his coach's fault. But at the same time, the coaches aren't trying to develop players; they're trying to use them for a specific role just for a couple of years until they go to the NFL. And that's all they're trying to do. So I think he could get some playing time. I'd like to see that. But again, same situation with the other ones. Since none of these are technically starters, a worst case scenario or what I would consider to be an unsuccessful season would just basically be where he just doesn't really ever get to crack the starting lineup and he gets 170 yards and you call it a day with that. With that said, are you ready to move on to the third round?
Yep.
All right, so am I. So I'll let you start this one off. We got Kevin Winston Jr.
Worst case scenario, he never really gets to play. By the time he gets healthy, Webb, is that his name? What's the safety? What's the safety?
Oh, Xavier Woods or Kevin Winston
Woods.
Jr.?
Where did I get Webb from? But yeah,
we had a Webb a long time ago.
Sheesh. Xavier Woods. He plays and he's just kind of keeps the job, but he doesn't do bad enough to give a place. And he just stays in the spot. And so Mr. Kevin Winston Jr., you never really get to see him play at all. I think that would obviously be the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, and what I'm
it's BW Webb.
My bad. What I'm hoping is that when he gets healthy, he'll start and he'll play really good. Like a lot of people likes him. So like a lot of people think that him going to the third round is mostly because of the injury more than anything. And so a lot of people think we may have got ourselves a starting safety with that. So best case scenario, I'll say that he gets to start and he plays well and he stays there. The next thing you know, he's our safety for years to come.
My question is, why do teams always do that? Why are teams always so short-sighted? We're like, oh, this guy's a really good player, but he's hurt. So he's not going to play that much his rookie season, so we're going to pass him. Like Jeffrey Simmons, he was supposed to be a top 10 talent. Yeah. And everyone's like, but he's going to miss half the season with an ACL, so we're just going to pass up on him Because he got all the way down to what, 19 is when we picked him up.
I think everybody comes back
Short-sighted.
from injuries different though, and so you just don't know. Like Harold Landry, you have to admit he was not the same player after he came back, in my opinion.
He was bad last year, but his first year after coming back from the ACL wasn't bad. Plus, ACLs are so routine these days, I feel like.
Well, you could say that, but my point, maybe you disagree, stands the same. I just feel like he wasn't explosive as he was before the injury. And
last year, like I said, last year, but now obviously you're not supposed to go stat chasing, but Harold Landry was actually very good his first year back from the ACL toe. Now, obviously, he had an entire off season, like an entire off season, because he didn't play a single game. Trying to pull up his states real quick. This is great podcasting right here, brother. Where we're both staring at our phones. 2023, he had, I mean, I guess he had 10.5, so he barely broke 10, but if I remember correctly, he was still fine that season. But what do I know? What do I know? I was always a big Harold Landry stan. That's who I wanted us to draft in the first round that year. So I was elated when he fell to us in the second. Well, he didn't really fall to us in the second round. We had to trade up to get him, but still. But anyways, we're not talking about Harold Landry right now. We are talking about Kevin Winston Jr. And for me, I want, and I hate that, obviously they're not, but it looks like A to Z Sports was stealing my take, because I was saying the same thing about Winston in my head, because I never said it on a video, that they end up saying about him. First of all, it's a safety, like Kevin Byard. His first name is Kevin, like Kevin Byard. If you listen to him talk, they have almost the exact same, very unique voice as well. And Kevin Byard started off as a backup on his rookie season, but by the end of it, he was the starter, like the last 4 weeks or so.
If he can turn out to be as good as Kevin Byard, I'd be happy.
Oh yeah. But technically he's a better prospect than Byard was. Yeah. So if we get that exact same rookie season out of Winston, I would be happy. I'd be a happy girl. If by the end of it, Xavier Woods kind of, he's what you paid for. He's just an average safety, just average. And then Kevin Winston Jr. gets more and more healthy. Stick him in there by the end of the season. Now, I will say, here's another little side tangent we're not going to get on because we're already 27 minutes into the video. We might save Cam Ward for a video of his own, is what we might end up doing. In fact, I think that's what we should do.
Can't believe we took 27 minutes to talk about his 5th round, 6th round, and 4th round draft picks.
Yeah, we're just now on the 3rd. But a lot of people are saying we need to not sign or trade away or bench Amani Hooker, and I think it's ridiculous. I think Amani Hooker was our best member of our secondary last year. And do you know how old he is?
29.
27.
Oh, wow.
I don't have any idea how he's played this entire rookie season and then a 3-year extension, and he's still only 27 years old. I say extend the man.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to cost a crap ton, and we have a crap ton of money.
Yeah, he's good. He's quietly good, but he's good.
Yeah, like there's no reason for us to next year let Xavier Woods and Amani Hooker walk.
Yeah, that would be stupid.
We have just one safety. Now we have another huge hole at safety.
If we have Hooker, who I think is good, and then if Kevin Winston Jr. can be good, that's a pretty good tandem.
Especially if you give him like another 3-year extension. So that means you'll have another 3 years of Hooker, and then it'll be the conclusion of Winston's rookie season. So then it'll be another 3 years of Winston Jr. as well. So you get for the next 3 years, both of them till. So that's a whole nother side conversation. But I expect big things out of him. Now, maybe the most controversial,
non-talked about 2nd round pick,
Femi Oladeju. Do you even know how to say his name yet?
No, because I could kill us.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to say his first name. I just know me.
I still haven't forgave the title for this one. Like, to me, this is still stupid, brain dead. Because when I'm looking at this draft, Mike, and obviously they haven't played yet, so you can't say anything for sure on this draft. But I actually like a lot of our players. Like, a lot of players. Like, okay, I'm interested to see you. I think by far our worst idea and pick was this. I can't stand it. I hate it very much. Go ahead.
So you just not like that he's raw?
I just think there's better people that we should have gotten. I think we should have got a receiver, but there was better rushers that I would have liked. but it's just dumb. But go ahead.
The thing about Femi Odeju is he just is very raw. He's basically Abdul Carter light because both of those two were linebackers. In their last year, they got switched to edge, so they're very raw at the edge position. The only difference is Femi. I think he only played like 10 games where he had played some edge. Very raw, but he's a freak athlete. He is swole. He looks like me. And he's aggressive, and he's the Energizer Bunny, and he's fun. He's funny, but he's raw. And he just might be one of those people like Racey McMath, where I'm like, dude, you look the part. And then he gets on the football field, and I was like,
Racey McMath did look the part.
He did.
I never
understood
understood how he wasn't very good.
He just didn't know how to run a route for some reason. I mean, as a wide receiver, you kind of need to know how to run routes, and he just didn't. So anyways, I'm going to go, since we're already over 30 minutes into this video, I'm going to go ahead and say what I predict. Or not what I predict, but what would be a good season. 5 sacks. If we can get 5 sacks out of him as a rookie, because he's probably going to be rotational as his rookie season, as he learns the trick of the trade there. If we can get 5 sacks out of him, I'll be happy. But then I also have that fear in the back of my head that he might end the season with like a sack and a half, 30 tackles.
Best case scenario. I don't want to copy you, but 5 sacks. But that's best case scenario that I don't see. Worst case scenario is this guy is garbage, and we shouldn't have got him, and he's just not going to play much because we have to develop him. Now, what helps him is we're so bad in that position. Is that I don't know how you can't play him. You know what I mean? It's like you just need all the bodies you can get. So he's probably going to play. The worst case scenario is guess what? He's not a very good edge rusher, and he doesn't do much for you. And like you said, he ends the season with a sack. And a
half.
And no, I'm going to be different than you. I'd say just a sack. And that's what I would lean towards more what's going to happen. But we shall see. Hey, I hope I eat these words, but I don't think I will.
Same thing we said about Will Levis.
Yeah.
He did not, in fact, eat the words.
No, he did not.
But yeah, I'm not good at concluding things. I think that's as far as we're going to go because, if we're already 32 minutes, it's going to be at least a 10 or 15-minute discussion with Cam Ward and what we're hoping for and expecting from his rookie season. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this spiel I always go at the end of videos. You see that on the bottom of the screen there. It says, please be sure to like and subscribe. We need likes and subscribes because, well, we do. I mean, the football season is just around the corner. Getting all the different takes from all the different Titans video makers is fun. So get in on what we're up to. Listen to our opinions, our 2 cents. We don't come with facts and logic. We just come with average at best looks and quirky takes. But that's what you get here at the Titan Bros Network. But so yeah, please be sure to like and subscribe. I know my shorts have been doing pretty dang good, but our live streams are having a lot of trouble getting traction. So make sure you're like and subscribing and just letting us know that you're even watching. Because when I see a view, I don't know what a view is. It might be someone who clicks on the video for 2 seconds and then leaves. If you're actually watching a video, let me know. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. He's not, but I surely am. Got anything you want to say before we get on out of here?
Nope. I always say nope, and then I say something. I do it every time. Don't
called
know
lying.
But yes, but don't worry, guys. We are almost done. We with the dead off season, we have to the end of this month is the first Hall of Fame preseason game, so that's exciting. So training camp's right there.
Hi, Jack Eggleston. Is it Eggleston or Eggleston? Eggleston. So you let me know how to pronounce your last name. How's it going? We were just talking about the Tennessee Titans rookie class and what we think. It says 1-1. Good. All right, he's spamming the chat now. I'll take the spamming chats though, because that helps the algorithm a whole bunch. But yeah, we were just talking about the Tennessee Titans rookie class and giving best and worst case scenarios on each one. So whenever the video is over, you should go back and start from the beginning and tell us what you think. these best and worst case scenarios are. He also says, "How are y'all? We're fantastic. We're a little sleepy because we're old, we're dads, and it's almost 10 o'clock where we are." Now he says, "Okay." He's got some quick fingers because he's throwing those. He's throwing those chats in there quicker than I can bring them up. Just about.
I used to be a fast typer, but I've slowed down.
Yeah, same. Honestly, do you remember the days when you actually had to want some keys 3 or 4 times to actually get to the letter you're trying to get to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I used to have some crazy fingers with those things, those phones back in the day. But yeah, I hate that you hopped in here, Jack, once Josiah and I were about to hit the road. But this video is over. We are 35 and a half minutes into this video, and we've talked about all of our rookies besides Cam Ward. Stay tuned, though, because we're going to talk some Cam Ward probably in our next video because we still got
just as well, because Cam Ward is the big guy that we all have questions and want to talk about. So we can.
I said this a lot. I said this a lot about Will Levis last year. Our team's going to go as far as Will Levis takes us, and he took us straight to the ground. But in a lot of ways, our season's success is going to be on the young man's shoulders.
Sadly, well, I don't know if sadly or not, but that's just the way of the NFL. It is hard to overcome a bad quarterback, and if you have a good quarterback, it's hard to be bad unless you're the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. Jack says thank you. You're welcome. Again, start the video over just as soon as I end this live stream so you can hear our opinion on everything. And then let us know your 2 cents on what you think about the Tennessee Titans and the draft class. So, got anything you want to add now before we get out of here, buddy?
Stay safe. Don't blow your hands off on the 4th of July. And
yes. Happy birthday to America. Don't do anything stupid, like you said.
Yeah.
And try not to drink a bunch of beer. Now, keep your fingers. Don't drink too much alcohol. And tighten up. Peace out. And all the jazz.